The celebration of World Book Day takes place worldwide annually in order to promote the enjoyment of books and reading. World Book Day has a strong connection with schools and is used worldwide to allow school children to engage with reading their favorite books. However, according to the 2023 National Reading Survey, 25% of South Africans have no books, and more than 3 in 5 people, that's 63%, still do not have any fiction or non-fiction books at home. Well, let's bring in a principal at Spark, Siyabonga Manana, to talk about the significance of such a day, especially for school-going children or learners in South Africa. Siyabonga, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you very, very much for your time.
Good morning, Leanne, and good morning to your viewers.
Quite disturbing statistics that we've just read, and we tend to read them every year, and we know this is a fact, that South Africans do not read enough. But our focus really is on the youth and trying to get the love of reading from a very, very early age. So where are we going wrong?
Good morning once again, Leanne. What I'd like to say is that where we are going wrong is particularly in not exposing children or scholars to more reading, both at home and in our schooling environments.
And that you believe is the biggest problem with South Africans, is that we're not necessarily getting it at an early age, that the love of reading is just not being inculcated from when we begin to be able to comprehend what we're reading.
100%. And the parental buy-in is very important, because as educators and as activists within the schooling system, we try and aid our scholars in ensuring that they reach a reading proficiency in all parts of their educational learning. Yeah.
So, I mean, the statistics we look at, the 2023 National Reading Survey, saying that 25% of South Africans have no books at home. Why? Where does the challenge come in here, especially for teachers that are aiming to foster a reading culture?
To paint a picture, can you imagine an educator that loves and wants to ensure that all their learners and scholars have the opportunity of reading? And when you look at the current statistics, as much as it's 25%, it essentially means that 1 out of 4 learners do not have access to the basic books. The problem starts with us not reaffirming the teaching skill. We live in a digital era, but I still believe that a book, a pen, a paper, those are the key elements, ensuring that we collaborate with our local libraries, making sure that taking time away, 10 minutes within a day, is sitting down with a child, of reading, creating and fostering that culture of reading. Currently, as a country, we currently don't have capacity for that, and I think we need to start ensuring that our scholars and our learners read more on a daily basis.
Yeah. I mean, research from the World Literacy Foundation showing that children who lack early literacy skills are more likely to fall behind and then, of course, face long-term educational challenges. How do we go about reversing South Africa's literary crisis? Because we have one, we really, really do. But to reverse this and put it in a meaningful direction to try and change the trajectory here.
Exposure and incentivizing. If reading is not done at home, it makes it a challenge for educators to reinforce it at school. If a household does not have any form of reading material, be it a newspaper, be it fiction, it feels like it's, for learners, it feels like it's something that they're not accustomed to, because it's only being done or practiced within a school environment. How we can revert back is creating time, making sure that each and every child that we have within our schools is given an opportunity to read, because you see it within the statistics. I think this is a rise and a call looking at all the statistics that we have as a country, we need to ensure that we educate parents and we create a culture of reading within our household.
Yeah, we must put a culture of reading, but when so many households don't even have a single book, that's when there's a problem, and then also the expense of it. So it's very difficult to inculcate this culture of reading and a love for books in order to circumvent these challenges. How do we do this?
By opening, at Spot Blue Downs High, we have started a book drive with our parents. We reached out to our parents to encourage book donations because we are aware that certain households do not have the necessary funds to purchase books for their scholars. But also using the basic books that we have within our schools, looking at the English curriculum. There are set books that scholars are required to read. Sitting down with your child, making sure that they have a full understanding. Because right now we see it in our scholar performance, the gaps of scholars not being able to read. We see it there, and partnership and making sure that we at least make sure that our scholars read on a regular basis, finding their interests. If your child loves anime, if they love cartoons, looking at how we grew up, reading, looking at Shakespeare, our current movies that our scholars and children love stem from a script, they come from a book. So just encouraging that understanding that reading also creates better comprehension.
All right, Siyabonga, this is an important conversation and one that, we tend to talk about every year, but the bottom line is that we need to inculcate this love of learning from a very, very young age. And thank you to you and your colleagues for doing exactly that. Siyabonga Manana is a principal at Spark, talking to us about the significance of this World Book Day.